Welcome back, Shalloners. Well, some bad news for Kylie Jenner today. Bad is, we're playing it pretty fast and loose with that term, but Forbes magazine has stripped her of her billionaire status. We're gonna break down what's going on behind the scenes, just a little because it's like dry and financial, but more importantly, we're gonna talk about what we can learn from this, how to be okay with our own insecurities and not lie when we feel insecure, when we feel attacked, and how to live a more authentic life. I'm gonna give you some practical exercises you can do to work through things so that you don't find yourself veering into Kylie Jenner territory and inflating, well, everything from your bottom line to your bottom line in order to feel better about yourself. But first, just want to remind you guys, if you have a love question of your own or any kind of question about self-esteem, find me on my website, shallonlester.com, and click Get Help. Also, if you would like a video shout out, find me on Cameo at ShallonXO. That's super fun too. And be sure to connect with me on Instagram because you guys suggested these video topics. They're like incredible. I always ask you guys for your take on things. I want to know what you guys want to hear about. And one thing you guys have said you want to hear about, it's just so upsetting. I am just like a ball of emotion lately, right? I'm like super hormonal and like I have no ability to regulate my own emotion. I'm a cold-blooded animal. Is the George Floyd thing, and I feel like on one hand like silly for being so upset because like I am not the target of everything bad that's happening in this country. I'm a white chick from the suburbs, you know, I got it pretty good. But it's like, I don't even feel like we're dealing with racism anymore. I'm so sorry. I'm all like, bleh. I feel like we're dealing with good versus evil. Like, I feel like we're in some sort of Harry Potter upside down world where, like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is happening here? And this is not the country that I was going to fight and die for. Like, I really wanted to join the army. I am a mess right now and I have nothing to towel off with. This is not my country. These are not, who are these people? Like, and these are like the cops. Like, I grew up with like the DARE officers coming and we trust the cops and Officer Mike, and it's like, that man was saying mama. It's just so much. And anyway, the point of bringing this up and being this horrible mess you have to watch right now is because I don't know what to do to support the Black community. Like and I'm not saying that it's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I truly don't know what to do. And I know a lot of white people feel this way. A lot of Asian people feel this way. Hispanic people feel this way because it's not like white versus Black. I mean, it is. But again, it feels like good versus evil. So it's like all the good people are banding together in whatever form we're all taking, just as all the bad people are banding together. And they've got a pretty common color going on there, but anyway. And it's like, I'm very big on voting to change the tide of what's going on in America. And it's not like a satisfying answer. To cast a vote and to register to vote is not as satisfying as throwing a chair through a plate glass window at a Best Buy in a riot. I get it. I want to do that too. But if we want to exact long-lasting change, we got to be smart about it, you know, because evil people are very smart. Like the Trump faction, they're really fucking organized. They are. And there's even this saying in politics, Republicans fall in line, Democrats fall in love. And like, even the Republicans will put up a candidate, and even if people don't love them, they get behind him. And it's like, all right, we're voting for Trump, we're defending him. And Democrats like, but I don't love Biden. Okay, well, you don't have to. That's not how this system works. And so I'm very big on like local elections, sheriffs, district attorneys, council people, judges. Like, that's how we keep cops like that off the force. That's how we get a DA who's like, I'm gonna fucking prosecute the shit out of you if you act like a racist motherfucker in this town. I don't care if you're a cop or a business. That's not happening. But like, from an interpersonal standpoint, I want to know, like, what can we do to support, like, what would be helpful in terms of becoming an ally? Because I just feel like, and we all feel just powerless and helpless. And we have felt this way for so long, not just with the racial things, but that, not just with the way the politics are going, but that, not just with coronavirus, but that, but with all of it. And the dumb, evil people are doing things like ranting online, just looting and doing dumb, evil things. But the smart people, we got to be better organized, and we got to pull together and figure out some solutions, because the dumb, evil people are very reactive, and evil is louder than goodness, and confidence is quiet and goodness is quiet. And so we have to figure out a way to be quiet, in our goodness, and not like do like dumb, loud things, like destroy local businesses. I'm not sure who that is supposed to help. Like those businesses being destroyed in Minneapolis. Like, again, I get the impulse to riot, absolutely. But there's people of color who work at those places and now they're out of a job. Or there's people of color who owned those places and like you've destroyed their family legacy. And it's like, it's not the answer. It's understandable, but it isn't the answer. So I want you guys to share, ladies, gentlemen who are Black, people of color. It's like, what has been beneficial to you, like in terms of people being allies? Is it someone to vote for? Is it a charity to give to? Like, tell us. But like, please remember that this is supposed to be a discussion and a dialogue of support and help, not like a painting blanket statements. No white people can be allies to us. You're all Karens. Again, like I don't not understand where that comes from, for sure. But it isn't helpful. It's cutting off our nose to spite our face. It might feel good in the moment, but it's only it's moving everyone further apart instead of closer together. And even when we have like a fight with a friend, an interpersonal argument, there's always the impulse to say something mean and bleh, but peace versus victory, right? And if you truly want to get your friendship back on track, your dating relationship back on track, your relationship with your sister back on track, there has to be that moment of, I'm going to try to collaborate and speak in a collaborative tone versus a divisive tone, even though it doesn't feel as good. Just doesn't feel as good. I want to rant, and I might have every reason in the world, but what I have a bigger motivation to do is have harmony in my life, and in the macro as well in our country. So I want to hear your guys' suggestions. But let's move on from that. I promise I won't cry one more time in this video. Again, so hormonal. I'm so sorry. At least I know I'm so fertile, because I'm just like, blah. Let's talk about Kylie Jenner, because Kylie's having a bad day. But like, again, bad relative term. So Forbes magazine in 2018 declared her basically a billionaire. That she was on track to become a billionaire by early 2019, a number which they said she did in fact hit at the time they said this. And they were basing this on the valuation of her Kylie Cosmetics company. Now look, I've read the articles. I've read a lot of the sourcing for the articles from Forbes, because it's Forbes who came out and walked this whole thing back today. They're like, web of lies, Kylie's lying, she faked tax returns. And it's actually an extremely dry article, as one would expect about finances and net worth and taxation. Who knew? They tried to make it as juicy as possible, but it's still quite dry. So I sort of like pulled out the juiciest bits for you guys, or the things that like made the most sense. So basically, even when I try to summarize it, it's still dry. They say she overinflated her net worth. She even went so far as to forge tax returns. Now, they don't have any proof of this, but they say based on the family's history of lies, and they kind of stitch that into just their overall sphere of influence and trajectory as a family, that their whole business model is larger than life, from their butts to their bottom line, right? To their houses. Like, everything is turned up a few notches, to the point where it's like, it's just in the realm of believable. You're like, oh, I got it. But it's still so much of an achievement. Like Kylie's body even is in the realm of believable, I guess. I don't know. For some people, maybe it is. To me, I don't think so. It looks like she's a thorax instead of a waist, but she's happy with her body. Cool. Good for her. But it's like, it's in the realm, but it's completely unattainable on the natch. Like, you're just not gonna, I don't know. Maybe some people do truly have that body. Good for you, girl. And so Kylie had said that in 2016, she had a personal income of $110 million. And that's her personal salary, not what her company's made, her personal salary. But Forbes walked it back and said that actually it wasn't that much, it was 41 million. And that didn't give her like the number 4 spot on their billionaires or their rich list. It was actually the number 59 spot. And Kris Jenner was apparently so frustrated. Her publicist shot back, we've done so much. So also the TLDR is that Coty, the cosmetic shop, which is 116 years old. Isn't that crazy that they've been around that long? Do you remember, did your grandmother use like the spun powder? Like my grandmother always had that sitting on her vanity. And so it was like, but that's the thing. Coty Cosmetics is very like old lady. And so they bought Kylie. I think they completely bought into the hype. Coty is probably run by a bunch of old dudes who don't understand what an influencer is. They don't understand what a Jenner is. They just see these numbers and they're like, okay, she's had this huge boom. It's going to keep on booming, but that's not always the way things go. And in fact, Forbes said not only like the valuation, basically they were just lying. They were just lying up one side and down the other. And when Forbes asked for more proof, you know, to refute this story, they were like, hey, we're doing this story. The Kardashians stopped answering their questions, which is very out of character. And, you know, like if you can prove that you have a certain amount of wealth, would you? Maybe not though. Maybe it's like nobody's business, because at the end of the day, she's richer than all of us, right? She's richer than all of us. But I have a quick manifestation exercise. I want you guys to repeat after me, okay? I want you to repeat after, we're gonna do 3. I will be the first millionaire in my family. Say it again. I will be the first millionaire in my family. Now we're gonna do it in a different tense. I am the first millionaire in my family. I am the first millionaire in my family. Now we're going to do it in past tense, as though it's already happened. I became the first millionaire in my family. I became the first millionaire in my family. Do you notice how I started to smile? It's because it was imprinting. And when something really imprints, we get that full body feeling. We can get full body feelings of a lot of other emotions: disappointment, fear, disgust, right? Just like, blech. Someone says something, you're like, douche chills all through my body. Nommers, noms, douche chills, I want to die. So let's try to practice full body acceptance of something we're trying to manifest. I am the first millionaire in my family. Hopefully you aren't the first millionaire in your family, so you can tweak it. I mean, I'm going to be the first 10 millionaire, 100 millionaire, maybe even the first billionaire. And the reason we're doing this manifestation is because in this video, we're going to talk about how to not pull a Kylie and how to be okay with your inadequacies. And of course, being worth, there's so many numbers in here. I forget what they even said that her net worth is, but it's a shit ton. Okay. It's a goddamn a lot of money. And so she's fine. And she even said that. So Kylie clapped back this morning. And you could tell that this was an emotional statement. She just like wrote it like kind of in a panic because there's no real punctuation. There's no capitalization. She said, what am I even waking up to? I thought this was a reputable site, ... All I see are a number of inaccurate statements and unproven assumptions, LOL. I've never asked for any title or tried to lie my way there ever, period. Yeah, but Kris might have been doing that. Even creating tax returns that were likely forged. She was quoting the article. That's your proof? So you just thought they were forged? Like, what am I actually reading? But okay, I am blessed beyond my years. I have a beautiful daughter and a successful business, and I am doing perfectly fine. I can name a list of 100 things more important right now than fixating on how much money I have. True. Kim, there's people who are dying. And you know, like I love the K's and I really appreciate everything they've done. I appreciate their business acumen. I appreciate their public relations acumen so much. Like doing what I do is just like a brief shadowy glimpse into what they do. And I really appreciate them. And you know, the fact that they don't have any talent and they've created this is more impressive than if they had talent. Like how hard is it to make money if you're talented? Fucking you better be making money, maybe not $1 billion, but if you're a talented person and if you have a product, yeah, you should be doing pretty well. But the fact that they had none and they're doing well, I'm like, man, big ups to you guys, big ups to you. But like I've said, my criticism with the Kardashians has always been their lack of charity. It makes me insane. Like when I make money, I want to help people, and you can help people without making money. And it's just, but that's kind of what goes to the heart of this. It's like Kylie had this much money and she still had to lie and say she had a little bit more, you know? And that speaks to deep, insane insecurities, that cold-blooded animal. We'll talk about that in a second. But it also speaks to her disconnect to the the rest of the fucking world, girl. Like, do you remember a few years ago when Kim was like, I realized there was racism? And we're like, what? What are you talking about? Like, it was the most obtuse thing. Kim, I think, is like miles ahead of Kylie. You know, I think she's really like doing good work, trying to get people out of prison. I think that's great. But there's so much more that they could be doing. I've said over and over again, if they had their followers donate $1 each, they could eradicate a disease every fucking year. Kylie Jenner probably could have funded a cure for breast cancer. Like, what do you do all day? So in that sense, they just kind of make me insane. But let's talk about that cold-blooded animal. And if you're new to this channel, you might not have heard me talk about warm-blooded versus cold-blooded, but that's kind of who we are here. We are warm-blooded animals. Cold-blooded animal, like a snake, like a Kylie Jenner, they can't generate their own self-esteem. They got to rely on outside factors, whether it's a heat lamp and they're sitting on a hot, flat rock, or a Forbes cover telling them that and the rest of the world, that they're a billionaire. Whatever they have, it's not enough. It's not enough. There's always a bar. There's always a bigger butt, a bigger set of implants, a nicer car, a bigger house, a better cover. Because nothing is being generated from the inside. They don't have this running inventory of, I like me. No, I'm not on the cover of Forbes, but it's possible to be happy without being on the cover of Forbes. It's possible to be happy without being a millionaire at all. But that doesn't seem to be the vibe there. And it's sad. We as warm-blooded animals, though, shalligators. An actual alligator is cold-blooded, but a shalligator has got warm blood running through those scaly little veins to our reptilian heart. We can generate that self-esteem, and that's what this video is about. So, how do we be okay with the things we're not okay about? How do we be okay with like all these insecurities? Because it's a very, very easy thing to do, to lie. And we talk about this in another form. We talk about this and it's called leveling. And this is something we do when presented with a situation or a person that kicks up all of those emotional little owies and insecurities. We either puff ourselves up to the level we think they're at. Oh no, I'm a billionaire too. Yeah, no, I am. I'm just, no further questions. Or we cut the other person down. Fuck you, I knew you weren't a billionaire. See, you're nothing special. A lot of times it's a combination. And that walks hand in hand with chronically lying to feel better, to look cooler, to fit in, to rise to the level, and to not be seen or exposed by the world at large, you know? And again, like, it makes a little sense with Kylie. Like, rich is rich is rich. Rich is rich. I mean, to most of us, it's like a million, a billion, tomato, right? You have the absence of problems that a lot of us have, but you have the presence of other problems that a lot of us don't. Most people don't have to think about like having bulletproof glass on your windows. You know, thank God. So here are some exercises that you can do to get okay with your not okay parts. I'm a big believer in doomsday prepping, right? I did a video at the beginning of this quarantine. Here are my doomsday products. And actually, I'm back in California, moved out of New York. And the only thing I had to ship back here, put things in storage, I brought back suitcases. The only thing I had to ship was my bug out bag because it had a lot of weapons in it. It was like tactical axes and destruction tools and some other things. And like, you can't take them on a plane, even in the belly of the plane. I don't think they'd like that. Like, I am a prepper. And I don't just prep for outside scenarios. I prep for emotional inside scenarios. I remember I used to go to, it was called the Goddess Temple of Orange County. It's a pagan temple down here, and I loved it. And Priestess Ava, she ran it, and every week we would run through a worst case scenario. Each one of us would share a worst case scenario of something that we'd been spiraling about, catastrophizing about, and we would dismantle it together. Because the antidote to a spiral is data. And that's why I talk so much on this channel about data collection. Everything's data. A data point with a guy, a data point with a job, a data point in quarantine. Hey, how much social interaction do I really want? Do I really need? Maybe a lot, maybe not a lot. And so I got very comfortable in running through worst case scenarios. So I want you to think about your worst case social scenario, like something that would cause you to lie. For a lot of us, and clearly Kylie, it's the concept that we're poor. Right? And it's always been so ironic to me that people bankrupt themselves buying like Vuitton or fake Vuitton so they can look rich when if they hadn't bought it, they would actually be closer to being rich. It's like the optics of being wealthy are far more important than the actuality of being wealthy. And that's sad because what it means is that people don't understand what wealth is supposed to give you. It's not supposed to give you things. It's supposed to give you peace. I've been poor and I've been rich, you know? And the thing that has changed is peacefulness. And that's what we're actually chasing, right? We're chasing, it's not that Vuitton belt, it's the social reaction that's going to give us peace. The social reaction says, you are loved, you are worthy, you are in this tribe. There is a tribe that has found you, and no one is going to hurt you anymore. You are at peace and you are safe. Oh, I know. When you break it down like that on this like caveman level, it's like, you feel silly for buying that Gucci belt, right? You should feel silly for buying a Gucci belt, just pretty much no matter what. I hate belts. Why? I hate wearing belts. They're like hip prisons. I hate them. So let's run through a worst case scenario. People are gonna think you're poor. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. We go to brunch. Your friends pick a place. And this is something that would happen to me all the time. Like, you guys, let's go to brunch on Saturday. Yeah, let's go. And there's always, in every group, there's one rich friend whose dad's supporting her, and she makes all the decisions because she doesn't give a fuck. Like, there's no real world consequences for her in a lot of ways, in the way that there are for, you know, it's like she'll pop off to her boss because if she gets fired, no big deal. Someone's going to pay my rent. It's like, no. I have to make my job work. I can't do that. Like, I'm not taking money from my family. I'm supporting myself. So I have to be real, walk the line. And she'll pick the most expensive brunch place. And I'm like, okay. And other people are afraid to stand up to her because they don't want to look like the poor kid, because the poor kid doesn't have the social power. The poor kid doesn't have the lake house that everyone goes to. The poor kid doesn't have the brand new 4-door Tahoe that's carting everyone to lunch, right? The poor person on the micro in a group of friends and on the macro in the world doesn't have a lot of power. So they're not going to stand up. I wasn't standing up for myself and being like, I don't want to go to Avra Madison. Like, that's so expensive. Can we not just go to Brother Jimmy's? We're going to find more boys at Bro Gyms instead of Avra anyway. Like, why do we have to go there just to post it and tag it? We're at Avra. Like, why do we need to do that? Why can't we do something that actually gets us closer, not to the feeling of wealth, but what wealth is supposed to give us in terms of feeling, which is peace and happiness. And that's with redneck boys at Pro Gyms. So you go to this expensive brunch. You guys just split a bunch of stuff. You're like, okay, I was just gonna get an $8 soup, but no, let's each pay $35 to have 4 bites of this god-awful fucking tapas. Don't even come at me with tapas. I can't stand it. Because it's such a scam. It's such a scam. And for me in those scenarios, the worst case scenario was being like, I can't afford to do this. I don't think I've ever said that phrase out loud to anybody. I can't afford that. Truly, I don't think I've said that. I would have made up excuses. I would have outright lied. I don't feel good. I can't go. Oh, I promised my friend I'd do this. I would not say that. And do you know who I was hurting? Me. Because I didn't make up excuses and lie really that often at all. You know what I did? I just fucking went and I got into debt and I hated myself and I hated my friends. So one day in Temple, she was like, all right, Shallon, it's your turn. And I was going to throw up to share this example. She's like, I know there's a worst case scenario in you. And, you know, the Temple, we were all just average ladies, you know, so me bringing this up was very, very relatable at the time to everyone. And she's like, okay, let's walk through this worst case scenario. You say, I can't afford that. I can't afford to go there. Worst case scenario, what happens? They tell me that I'm not invited anymore. Okay. Keep going. What's the worst case? What does that mean? Not just what is the additional logistical fallout. What does that mean to you? That means that my friends don't actually like me. That means that they never liked me. They only liked me because I was a follower and because I didn't rock the boat for the rich girl. That means that all of this time that I've invested into these people has been wasted. That means I have to start from scratch. I have to look in the face that my tribe is not actually a tribe at all. They're hollow. And that at the slightest hint of authenticity, they're going to throw me out. And she's like, aha. At the hint of authenticity, you are unloved. Where have you heard that before in your life? where have you gotten the message that if you're authentic, no one's going to love you? I was like, boys, honestly, boys. I have a quirky personality. I'm a loudmouth, you know, like I'm funny, I'm smart. All of you guys are the same. And I know you guys have experienced this. And it's like, that was not historically rewarded with teenage dudes when I was in high school. That was not, because a teenage guy is a single cell protozoa of a version, you know, of like a regular man, of like Ryan Reynolds or Barack Obama. They're just like, oh, they're like a jellyfish. And we're like, please, jellyfish, love me and understand me. Your brain and your heart and your butt is all the same organ. But we get that message. And I was like, yeah. So me going to this expensive brunch took me right back to high school, took me right back to, if you are real with people, they aren't going to like you. And she's like, and what if they just don't like you? What if your friends are like, we don't like you anymore? What if they made that leap in hyperdrive and they're like, oh, you don't want to go to Avram Madison? We don't like you anymore. You need to move out. What would you say about them? And I was like, I'd say they were fucking ridiculous and they were bad people. She's like, exactly. So do you think it's appropriate that you live your life, destroy your finances, resent yourself to please people who may actually be ridiculous? I was like, no. Why would I hurt myself to please ridiculous people who ultimately, if that's how they are, shouldn't be in my life at all? And then everything in my life started to change. Then I became good at this worst case scenario, this emotional doomsday prepping. So that when I feel myself doing that leveling, I'm puffing myself up. Oh my gosh, I need to come up with an excuse. I can't face this insecurity. Why not? Why can't I face it? Okay, this guy gets up and walks out of that Tinder date. I hate you. You know what? I hate you. Bye. Okay, bye, Garrett. Like, okay. 99% of the time, what you're catastrophizing never happens. And even if it did, it would be so comically lame and ridiculous. You'd be like, bye, Garrett. Like, okay, fuck. And you would feel blessed that you saw someone's true colors before you got in any deeper, right? And even if you didn't, even if you felt wounded and, oh my God, my tribe is gone, this date is gone, blah, 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 you would at least not be mad at yourself. I've been mad at other people and I've been mad at me, and one is unbearable, and it's being mad at yourself, right? Because you might only have to deal with that other person, that other scenario, a few minutes a week when you quantify it. You have to deal with yourself 24 hours a day. There's no getting away from it. And hating yourself and resenting yourself it's crazy making. And so many of the questions I get from you guys ping back to this. It's like, why can't I get over this fuckboy? Why can't I get over this fuckboy? I'm like, because he is merely a mirror to your own poor decision making. And I'm not saying that to say this is your fault. It's not an accusation. It's how we all feel when we're in this spiral. It's not that we're mad at this other person. We're mad at us because we haven't acknowledged that we fucking knew better. We knew better. We were self-betraying. And when we can finally do that, be like, you know what? I hate these brunches. I hate them. Not because the food is bad or the company is bad. Like, I have a good time, but afterwards I am seething on the inside because I have betrayed myself doing something I can't afford to be doing. Or if I can't afford it, well, now it took money out of this other category. It took money away from my Miami Beach trip fund. So like, now I'm one day further from executing that goal because I was just too much of a wuss to stand up for myself and say, no. So when you're going through your own worst case scenario, write it down. Like I said, I'm a big believer of writing things down, like write it down by hand. I do this all the time because it helps you see the ridiculousness of your worst case scenario. Like, okay, so you drive a car that you can afford, even if it's a beater, a hoopty. One of you guys are like, who says hoopty in 2020? Me. Is there a new word? If there's a new word, let me know. You're driving a hoopty instead of that new leased Lexus or whatever. I'm clearly such not a car person. I'm like a Buick, that fancy Oldsmobile. I've been in New York too long. I know like Ubers. If that costs you friends, like that's not going to cost you friends. That's a crazy thing to think. And so it means that everyone in your community or everyone in your school knows that that's all you can afford. Okay, what is leadership? What is leadership? What do we say leadership is? Risk in service of authenticity. And if you're being authentic, you're being risky. It's a risk. Most people don't do that. Kylie Jenner can't do it. You look at Kylie and it's like, she has so much power. She has so much ability to be like, fuck you to the Garretts of the world walking out on a Tinder date. You don't like it? Fuck you. I don't need you to like me. I'm so rich I can do whatever I want. And yet, she can't be authentic. She can't be authentic with her body, with her relationships, with her friendships, with her finances. That is sad to me. Because then what's the point of all that money and power? I want to be rich to have to not be beholden to anyone. You don't like me? Fuck you. I don't like this place? Fuck you. I'm getting on a plane. I'm getting on a jet. I'm leaving. To have the ability to choose my own reality. And it's like, Kylie's just not there, you know? And that just goes to show like you can have any amount of money and it's got to come from within. It's got to be that warm-blooded situation. So when you're going through these, write it down and be like, how realistic is it? It's going to put it in black and white. It's like, okay, is this fear based in reality? You know, like I said, most of the time it's not, but sometimes it is based in reality. Sometimes this worst case scenario is very likely. Oh, it's very likely. If I tell my boyfriend, hey, I don't know that monogamy is for me. I have a crush on someone. I need to flirt. I need more sex. It is actually very likely he's going to leave me. And so that's why I lie. That's why I lie about where I go. That's why I lie about how I feel, because the fallout is very real. Okay, sometimes it do be like that. If that's the reality, ask yourself what you can do to change that reality. Maybe you do need a different boyfriend. Maybe you do need different friends, a different career. Maybe you do need to separate from that family that's holding you back. And changing your reality, no, it's not easy. No, it's not fun. It's a lot easier to lie. Oh my God, it's so much easier to lie. Blah, 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 blah. I went to Oxford. I can fly. I can see through time. I'm Puerto Rican. Blah, blah, blah. Look at, I'm just making things up. It's a lot easier to do that. Living authentically, it's hard. It's hard and it's scary. It's risky. But when you feel that risk, when that that emotional risk is kicking in, that risk can go two ways. It can be, I'm risking my happiness. I'm risking my integrity. I'm going to this expensive brunch. I'm buying a car I can't afford. I'm going out on a date with someone I despise. And I feel at risk of self-betrayal. Or that risk can go in the opposite direction. I'm disconnecting from things that don't serve me. I'm speaking my truth. I'm living authentically. And now you know how I feel? Maybe afraid, maybe a little lonely, but I feel like a leader. And in the last video we did, we talked about how to be a leader within yourself. Crystal, you know, where there's different parts of yourself and they are not all gonna be on board with this. Your ego that's trying to keep appearances are gonna be like, you need to lease that Oldsmobile. You get that fancy ass Oldsmobile, bitch. You are not going with the hoopty. Nope. You're gonna be like, hey, Crystal, get on fucking board. Get your shit together, Carol. You're gonna have to do that. And you're gonna have to be a leader for yourself. And you know what happens when you do that? You become a leader for other people. When I started becoming authentic, everything changed. I tell the story all the time, the Dave Matthews story in high school, when it's like everyone was going and it was like, oh, Dave Matthews. And I was like, oh God. And I stood up and I was like, I don't wanna go. You know what? I don't wanna go. It's expensive, it's boring, I don't wanna do it. And my crush was like, you know what? I don't either. And he asked me on a date and we ended up dating. And that to me, I would say that was when I realized how important authenticity was and how it's rewarded by the universe. Truly it is. And so when I stood up finally to my friends that time, been like, you know what guys, I just can't afford this. I don't really want to do this. Oh my God, things shifted. Even last year when I went to Portugal with my friends, there were like 6 or 7 of us. We went to Portugal, it was so fun. And 3 of my friends, they really wanted to go to the super fancy Michelin star dinner. And it was gonna be like $400 a person. I'm not like a foodie and I hate long dinners. I hate them. They make me feel like I'm trapped. Like I'm in like this culinary prison. And but I was like, I can't be like, I don't want to go. I don't want to pay for this. I don't care. But finally I did. And I was like, I just don't want to do that. I'm sorry. You guys go. Have fun. Like, have my blessing. But then 3 other girls on the trip were like, you know what? We don't really want to go either. And so we went out just ourselves. And I got to bond with them in a way that I hadn't previously on the trip because we were kind of new friends. We had an awesome time. We went to this dope, cool sushi place. And I'm like, yes, authenticity. It's rewarded. And they even said to me, they're like, I'm so glad you said that because I was afraid to say it. I was afraid. We would have gone along with it. They were at dinner for like 6 hours. It was $500. It was so expensive. But they loved it. Great. That was authentic to them. It was not authentic to me and the other girls. And so I felt really rewarded and validated. And you get addicted to authenticity. You get addicted to leadership because what is leadership? It's power. And we always hear about how people are addicted to power, right? You get addicted to personal power. You get addicted to no. We've talked before about the revolution of no. No, I'm good. And society's like, oh, say yes, live, laugh, love. Yes, say yes to every opportunity. No, girl, don't. Nope, you don't need to. There's only so much time. There's only so much money, only so much energy. You can say no. I want you to. I want you to start saying no to more things. Unhealthy things that don't serve you, that aren't authentic, that don't ping into your sense of leadership within yourself. And then you get addicted to that feeling. It's like, oh, I am the dictator of my own little fiefdom here. I am the queen of my castle. And as the queen, I shall beautify my kingdom. And you start to fill your life with things you actually really enjoy. Situations you enjoy. People who now you've been magnetized to and vice versa because they see leadership in you and it inspires it in them. And then you've created this bad bitch entourage. You've created this bad bitch true alpha life where you're no longer cold-blooded. You're generating that heat from within. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And it's our life's work to do it. So don't think it has to happen in 1 week. This is steps, but it's like anything else. You have to practice to be good at it. And so once you start to practice, you will be amazed at how much easier it becomes. And like I said, how you become addicted to that feeling of personal power. And we can do more videos on finance. I know you guys had suggested that. So maybe we'll do one on how to live within your means. My financial journey, how I think about finances and money has been it has been as complicated as my journey with body image. And I think it is very common for those two things to be very, very linked in women. I don't know very many people who feel great about one thing and terrible about the other. A lot of times they walk hand in hand. So we can try to break that down. It's a lot. So I'm going to try to do some learning about it. And like I said, if you guys want to share some stuff about being allies to the community, I can't even talk about it again. I'm going to get emotional. I'm just emotionally spent, but I want to know. We're going to talk about this and we're going to do our part, because we're all either part of a problem or we're part of a solution. And if you're here on this channel, you're part of the solution. I know you are. For more, click like and subscribe. And like I said, if you have a video shout out you want or anything like that, find me on Cameo at ShallonXO. And if you want to connect with me privately, find me on my website, shallonlester.com.